is now 6 o'clock, so I will call the January 21st, 2025 meeting of the Conservation Commission to order. All members are present in the room, and we are being recorded for future broadcasting. First order of business is, holy crap. This isn't even, it's not my laptop, so it wants to restart. And I'm like, no,
First order of
thank you.
business is holy crap.
Snooze. I want you to snooze. Is accepting of meeting minutes for January 7th.
I can make a motion to accept them, but I can't vote on it. So I'll do so.
Can I move this?
Yeah, it's just small stuff.
I'm having chair issues.
Okay.
I have some changes to the minutes.
Say second, will you?
Yes.
Oh, she said second?
You because you shush, you weren't even at the last meeting. So.
I think she has changes she has.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just throw it. That's fine.
Sorry.
Why are you sorry?
Because I'm like sinking into the chair. I feel like I'm like clawing so I can reach the table. Okay. Sorry. The minutes. Here we go.
Yes.
Yes. So new and old business erosion concerns at Moulton Pond Dam.
Mm-hmm.
I would like the first sentence reworded. It says, dam site and observing instability with regard to erosion controls. Could we change it to within the project area?
Do you want it observed too?
Well, we can do site and observing instability within the project area and the lack of stabilization / erosion control measures.
Right. Visiting the dam site.
I have it written down if you just want to take this.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And then,
I'll just give it to Tanika.
and then could we delete, it says it's still needed on the Moulton Pond side and the downstream has filled up. Can we strike and the downstream has filled up?
Why?
I don't,
I don't think
these are minutes though, that's not what I said at the meeting.
Oh,
it's just that the pond was full, right? Not that it was filled with sediment.
It was,
just
that was not a result of
yeah, okay.
any current activity on the dam. And under wetland crossing, Bryce Estates, provide should be provided.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Any questions, concerns on that edit? I think we still have a motion. Is there a second as amended?
I'll second.
All those in favor by roll call, start with Tim.
Keenan, aye.
clock abstained.
Chitzalucci abstain.
York and aye.
Williams and I.
And Dan's at aye. Alright, minutes are done. Next on the agenda is 13 Lantern Lane, public hearing. We still don't have a DEP number. They never somehow received even the NOI, even though she did submit it on eDEP, and we have like the transaction number and everything. So they're still working through that. So because they have no record of the application or the fee, obviously they haven't issued a number. As far as I know, I don't think they've done anything on the erosion control side or stabilization side. And it's been pretty cold, so I don't think anything has gone anywhere. I don't know if has anyone taken any swings by or anything like that for Lantern?
No.
No reason.
Okay. So let's just, are there any questions, concerns at this point besides the ongoing, just erosional? Making sure that,
I can swing by there before the next meeting,
okay.
if that helps.
Doesn't hurt if you're willing. Just don't slide down the hill, please. That would be nice.
I'll be like, what did I do?
Okay, for the record, are there any comments from the public, even though there's no one here or on Zoom? So seeing none, is there a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing
Second.
for 13 Lantern Lane.
Seconded by Skip, all those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, aye.
Clock eye.
Jim Lucia.
York and aye.
Williams?
And Dan's a aye, that is continued. Alright, public hearing notice of intent, Woodframe Property Management LLC, 377 East County Road, Lot 1. Sounds like Julian is on vacation, so looking to have a site visit after, I think it's like the 27th, I wanna say. And be continued to our next meeting.
Could we get the date of that meeting for the record?
Yes, the meeting will be February 4th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to move. East County Road to,
Or do we want to set a site visit first for this one and the next one?
I
there's
definitely
a lot of
want.
snow on the ground, it'd be nice, but if there's a lot of snow, you can see
Yeah.
nada.
So it's supposed to warm up though to like 32, 33 next week. Will that make a
Sounds
difference?
promising.
Heat wave.
Yeah. And since it's an existing driveway crossing, it might not be that difficult to check, see where the boundary. But it's up to you guys. I know that we're not required to review a wetland delineation until spring if we don't feel comfortable.
So after the 27th, so that would possibly be the first weekend in February. So next Saturday we could. I could say we could see how the weather's looking by Thursday. If there's ground cover, then we'll push it until there's no snow on the ground. But otherwise, our typical Saturday at, what do you usually do, 10? 10? On the 1st of February?
I should be able to do that.
And if no snow cover. Okay. Any questions or comments from the public that do not exist at this time? I would say no. Is there anything you wanna discuss, or, I think Julian's gonna be at the next meeting, so that's probably the most helpful. But if anyone looked at the plans ahead of time and had any questions, we can talk about it. Okay.
So it's 2 duplexes, so that's 4 total families. So these aren't, I'm confused, are these, one existing or are they both new or what?
They're both new. I think there's an existing structure, but not necessarily a house. So the driveway is mostly existing, except going to lot, I don't even know which lot that is. One to the left, and then straight up to the,
that in DCR jurisdiction?
It looks like they're just outside of the primary zone. So they kept it outside.
So they're in the secondary zone,
The
the 2 to 400?
Yep.
I can't see, sorry, on these plans.
You're fine.
So in the secondary zone, DCR will look at septic density and impervious.
Yeah, they'd have to get a variance still, right? Cause there's just no septic in the primary?
Correct. And then I think when it's work in the secondary, they look at the density.
Okay.
I think that's what Bernadette told me one time. But that's not our problem.
This would be considered a shared driveway, right?
Yep. Common drive. I also didn't see erosion controls back on the plan too, so that's something that we should think about.
Yep.
Oh, I see, that's the 200. I need my monocle.
And there's like the limit of work weirdly outside of the words limit of work
Oh, I see it now, okay.
outside of the erosion control line
And so there's the,
on the right side.
okay. It's like one septic's out. so
Yep,
the-
one's in.
I did look at the zone A, there's no zone A. It's further north.
Alright,
Oh, wait a
see on the map where we are.
Look at the zone A. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which one is it?
Oh, perfect.
Is this it?
377.
This map doesn't have numbers.
Yeah, but see this shape of, for the site look.
Okay, so it's right here.
Yeah. This is with that funky thing.
It's with the funky thing.
So like this, that's right.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Stop sharing that.
So coming in.
Mm-hmm. And then the zone A is the 200. Interesting.
Is Palmica zip broke into now? Cause they don't have the riverfront on here.
Whatever stream,
It's Palm Desert
DCR
Road.
stream, I looked at the USGS, I believed it was mapped as perennial.
So it might have to be riverfront on here then.
Yeah, but I think we should double check that.
Okay.
And, because then we're gonna need,
I know it has water year round.
It's named, so
did he
not to say all named
put riverfront area on the
or. No.
notice? Nothing?
Oh, I didn't check the notice, but it's not on the plan. Only has 100-foot wetland buffer. And then the DCR setbacks.
Mm.
I can check the.
Can't remember. Cause there's nothing marked on the notice for riverfront.
I think it's perennial.
You think it's pregnant?
Yeah, pretty sure. Let me just check the.
Yeah, you check. This is a buffer zone only project. So that would require the alternatives analysis and
Yep.
performance standards for riverfront.
Yep, comes up as a stream, which is perennial. It is on the USGS map too. That is a thick blue line, so yep. Now, they proposing any work within the riverfront?
It looks like yes. Cause they're,
Yeah, cause the riverfront's between these two lines.
I wonder if the riverfront lines up with the primary
That's what I
protection
was just
zone.
thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is-
We're up this way.
If it does, it looks like they're just
they're just
outside it,
outside
but we should ask
Yeah.
Julian to confirm that. It should be shown.
Oh, I'm
I think
sorry,
regardless.
okay, I'm up here, it looks like. So the 200 here, he's outside the prime, the 200 foot, yeah.
Yeah. But they need to confirm if that's one and the same with riverfront.
And And then there's not, yeah, that's just a BBW there. Hmm. And also, do we know if they're gonna have to be doing any improvements on the existing driveway?
That's a question for Julian, I think.
They're showing a detail, common driveway cross-section, which that leads me to believe that
They're
they're
doing
doing something, improving it somehow. They're showing a 12-inch gravel base and 2-inch
But
base
still,
course
the-
asphalt
That's
pavement.
the 200. I should have highlighted that. Cause, I mean, it looks like there might be a little grading that skirts into the riverfront area. With this house on the south there.
There's a lot of similar lines, it's hard to tell which is which
Yeah.
sometimes.
He does have a little chart on the plan. DCR protection zone areas, square footages.
Maybe I'm sure there.
And it looks like the driveway only goes to here, the existing driveway, like right at the corner.
Oh, it only goes to there?
According, I'm just looking at the map, the ortho.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see.
Unless there's a dirt path that goes,
Yeah, a car
which there
path.
could, could.
Yeah, it kinda looks like a car path.
Alright, so there's questions to be had. I'll send Tamika a note of some of the things we just talked about, so Julian's prepared at the next meeting, especially about the brook erosion controls,
Yeah.
and the driveway.
Yep, how much grading or activity or work is gonna be in the riverfront area?
Alright, so we'll schedule a site visit for February 1st, as
Also,
long as there's.
another comment?
Yeah.
I'm just noticing, and I feel like we've seen this before and haven't really said anything, but I'm gonna bring it up now. I'm curious what other
Do
people
it.
think. This plan is stamped by PLS, Professional Land Surveyor. This is not an existing conditions plan, this is a proposed site plan.
Mm.
I think it should be stamped by a PE. I don't think a PLS is appropriate for a proposed site plan. I don't know how hard we wanna push on that, but I wanna bring that up.
It's at least worthy to note. I think when I've come at that, it's, as long as the person stamping feels that they are confident in their ability to put forward, even if it's not quite the right stamp,
Yeah, cause we've run into that where they've had
mechanical
engineer stamp a
that
site
one
plan.
was like,
Mm,
that one was weird.
Yeah,
yeah, we've had that too,
Yeah.
from Julian.
yeah.
I mean, it could be something I think that's better addressed in our regs once we
Mhm.
get there.
Yep,
That's one way to go about it. But we can at least kind of make it known if we question.
Yeah, so but we don't require an existing conditions plan? Cause it's kinda hard to look at this and know,
Yeah.
like, what's being done if you don't know
And I think
what the current situation is.
that's just adds to the benefit of this bylaw.
yeah,
Cause that's everything in the regs is like what you ask for in an application that goes, that really allows us to determine what's on site now and what the impacts will be. But I don't think it really talks about it in the WPA of like,
No, it
What
doesn't get
your-
into specific
it
plan.
really just talks about like site plan, not
Right,
other ones that might be included besides like a USGS map or something.
exactly.
So, okay. So things to ponder on as we move past the bylaw into regs. Alright, so for lot 1, if there's no snow cover next Saturday the 1st at 10, then I'll say it's on. I will, we'll touch base, I guess, on Thursday or so and see what people's feelings are, and then we'll go from there and let Julian know. Although we'll tell him beforehand that we're thinking about it. But if there's no other comments or questions, I'll do a motion to continue until our next meeting.
We're doing them both at the same time?
I only opened lot 1 for now, so we'll just do a quick on lot 2 next time.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue the hearing for 377 East County Road, Lot 1, to our next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, I.
Okay,
Gentilucci, aye.
York and I.
Williamson, I.
Dan's aye. Alright, next order of business is 377 East County Road, Lot 2, so I'll open the public hearing for that. I'll say our comments are the same, since it's the same site plan. We'll do the same thing for the site visit, proposed on Saturday the 1st, 10 a.m., unless there's lots of snow cover. Is there any questions or comments on this one by the commission or the non-existent public at this time?
so,
There's no one. Motion to continue?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing for 377 East County Road, Lot 2, to our next meeting on February 4th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, I.
like I,
Gentilucci, aye.
York and I.
Williamson, I.
Dan's a aye. We are continued. Okay. Old and new business, Route 56, Palmagussit Road, update from MassDOT on erosion plan at the dam. We have received nada. That's all the updates I have on that. So,
That was quick.
yeah,
He was on Zoom last meeting.
yeah.
I thought we talked about maybe coming back in, well, zooming in again.
Guess not.
There's no one there. Yeah, I think Tamiki even tried to reach out to them again, I wanna say, just to see if she could get an update, and didn't hear back from anything, no plans or no, from either DOT or from the guy who was the engineer of record joined us at our last meeting to discuss some of it. So we talked about the stabilization plan, just some of the issues that we saw, and I think he stayed on a little bit while we talked about Molten Mill across the street too. So showed some pictures that Glenda had took. We kind of just wanted an understanding of where things were gonna go till the end of it, because there was some erosion sedimentation that was happening along the side of the road, but he said he was gonna talk with his folks at DOT and get back to us. And we didn't get anything.
Shocking.
So
It's the
it's, I mean,
We can only expect so much.
I haven't seen it gotten any worse, which is good. I don't know if anyone else has seen anything different than what we saw at the last time, but it's like, it's not outrageous, but there's definitely some sediment cleanup I think they needed to do on both sides. I think they took their erosion trails out a little bit too early, like they should have had the silt curtain, etc. on the inlet side, because it seemed like that had
Yeah.
been muddied a little bit.
And I mean, the problem now is there's like, I was taking my walk on the route trail and there was like 7 cars parked like right there. Cause they were all out ice fishing and
Yeah.
partying and stuff, so. Maybe, do they have any plans to put some gravel down in that area where people park or?
think that was part of our question.
Like,
Yes.
I take pleasure in the fact that everything's frozen solid.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. If we get 4 inches
There
of rain in
there can't be any
Chieftain,
problems
yeah, right?
until it all thaws out.
Yeah, and that
So-
was the other part of what we talked about is come spring, like the areas that aren't stabilized, that didn't take the seed or anything, like you're gonna have a little bit of a landslide. So to, again, what were their stabilization schedules and whatnot, so I'll say have Tamika push and we'll see for the next meeting. If we don't hear from them at the next meeting, maybe we send something a little bit more strongly, you know, cause it's gonna start to get into spring as of
They
now.
still have to deal with DEP, they're still dealing with DEP directly also, right?
So we hold the local on this one.
Right.
But yeah, they still deal with DCR, and I mean DEP too, but this we still have our local enforcement because we issued the permit for this one. So we have some teeth.
We have an open enforcement order on 69.
Yes, because we didn't rescind that yet until spring, right? So, things are still in progress. I think it's just keeping an eye on it as the weather changes the next couple weeks and months.
Because
And not
we know
letting it
that,
go.
yeah, and plus we know that we have a butter concerns,
Mm-hmm.
resident concerns, so
Yep. Okay.
I feel like it's always.
Anything else on Route 56 for now? I feel like I'm just like stuck in the everything's frozen lull, which is both good and bad. Right.
Scary.
Next is Bryce Estates follow-up on dewatering situation at Wetland Crossing. Tamika touched base with Chris Lucas, who is going to do the monitoring of that area. He's been extremely sick, so he has not been out there. I meant to try and touch base with Rebecca from DEP today because I wanted to get a better handle on, you know, this is the permit that we issued locally most recently. So they will also, while amending the 401, most likely need to amend the order of conditions because the resource area and replication area alterations are larger. So before the next meeting, I'm going to talk with Rebecca a little bit and get her kind of just a little bit more background in what she's seen too, just on site. Alan seemed to be okay with the progress as of now as long as they follow through because DEP really is DCR's enforcement hand. So DCR kind of has to not play along, but, you know, doesn't have as much like violation enforcement as even we do sometimes. So as long as they're following the path, DCR seems to be okay with the plan forward, but making sure that Chris Lucas gets out there. So it's an interesting situation,
Yeah.
to say the least. I still don't quite get the pipe through the pipe kind of deal to dewater it.
Do we know how they came up with an additional 575 square feet wetland replication?
So I think because the bridge was supposed to span and they put a pipe in the bottom to dewater, so they altered the bed of the wetland, is the best that I could understand it.
And that's coming from Rebecca.
Yes.
So they looked at the
And
land under.
Chris did. Chris Lucas. And I think it was BDW. Because I think it was an intermittent stream. And that was it that the crossing was smaller? Too?
By a foot. Or
By
no.
a foot or two?
Yeah.
So then it didn't actually span in.
Yeah.
Yay. I think it's a series of unfortunate events.
The crossing changed completely, right? It was supposed to be a 3-sided culvert
Right.
Now it's an arch
Now it's
culvert.
March.
Yeah.
So a lot of things have changed without, and that's one thing that I also have been, even just from a construction standpoint, from when they're building the houses. So they're gonna start the Quail Run aspect. So they pulled all those building permits, and what I find and what I learned is that what they put in front of us is like the largest floor plan that they could fit on the lot, because the customers, change their design, so they get approved kind of worst case scenario. And then ultimately, by the time it comes to a building permit, it looks different. It's usually smaller, which is good, but when I'm looking at it, the plans are like, all of a sudden there's one that was just done, and it doesn't match what we have. So I had Tamika email Tom Larson and just kind of tell him, once you have a final plan as part of your order, you are required to at least send us that final plan. It's less impactful. Most of the time, it's actually every time that I've seen, thankfully, it's been taking work outside or further away from the wetland edge, so further outside the buffer.
Probably less impervious.
Less impervious,
smaller.
yep.
Okay, that's good.
So, for us, it's just a note in the file. It's not like they need an amendment. It's just kind of, okay, when we go do the COC, you did what you were supposed to.
We know what to look for.
We know what to look for.
Right.
So just kind of put that reminder in, but it's kind of like the same sort of thing, is like they just do these changes, and then we catch them after the fact, or like while they're in progress, instead of trying to work out the situation before they've started. So hopefully, as things progress, it gets a little bit smoother, but so we'll see when Chris Lucas gets out there. I don't know what it looks like now that things are snow covered, if that impacts his site visit at all for what he was gonna look at. But once he has the report, he's gonna send it over, and I'll talk to Rebecca from DEP by the next meeting. And maybe even just have Tamika give Clee a heads up that he'll probably have to amend our order as well with the 401. It'll be the same documents, I would assume, so it's just submitting to us. If that's okay with the commission, just so he's not taken blind at the next meeting and saying, where did that come from? Well, it's what's needed.
Yeah.
So we're requesting that they submit an amendment, request for an amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they should already know that.
They
And
should,
Any major changes to the design.
but I think because it
Maybe
hasn't been
today.
explicitly said yet, I want to make sure they're kind of aware.
Yeah.
Well, to us it makes perfect sense, but may not be clear when it's just been coming from DEP, just talking about the 401, because that's the
Sure.
only permit that they hold.
Yeah.
Although I would assume that Chris Lucas would know, but
Right.
he'll only do what he gets paid to do, so.
And literally everybody's sick,
Yes.
including myself.
And what are you doing here, getting us
Yeah.
sick?
No, I got it like a week ago, so I'm not even.
No, it's good for 3, 4, 5 weeks.
I'm not, you're only contagious the first 5 days.
You just get a cold.
Yeah, that's what she said. That's what my son-in-law said too. 6 weeks now. Yeah.
Right on camera. Right?
Right on camera's right. You saw it, everybody, if I get sick, it's
I
my
heard
fault.
it. Yeah, I heard the breath.
Recorded evidence.
Yeah.
We have a new opening on the board.
Seeking, now seeking 2 members, maybe 3. All right. Anything else on Bryce for the wetland crossing?
Sorry,
Right.
You're sorry
he's
now.
gonna run me
Yeah.
down in the parking lot.
She don't care.
Austin's gonna be at the
Got
next
rid of that
meeting,
guy.
sitting right next to
You
you.
little pot.
Oh God. All right. Nothing else on that one. The next order was Big Night 2025. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah.
I honestly haven't had a chance to think about it since last meeting all
Perfect.
that much, so
just that
That's okay.
it could be an opportunity to pull in the neighboring Concom in too to kind of tag team on it.
Okay.
So that's all.
When would it be?
Sometime in March,
In March.
mid to late March, early April. Yeah. When it starts to warm up, we have some warm rain.
Warm, rainy nights.
That's key.
And you can see.
Yeah, it's just salamanders migrate, frogs, all sorts of things. Kids love it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
It's an awesome educational opportunity for kids and their families, and recruitment, especially if we're going to need 3 members.
Because 2 died.
So
There's
Okay.
one near my house, right on, you probably know it on Irish, right before you hit Prospect.
oh yeah,
That one. I
That
can
one
hear,
scares
I can
me.
hear the peepers
yeah,
from my backyard,
Yep.
let alone my front yard.
yep, that's nuts.
They're so loud.
My detention basin has turned into one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's everywhere in town though. Come over to my house, you can't even hear
It was
yourself.
only built in
Yeah.
03.
Usually
Yeah,
it's
maintained.
dead quiet.
Listen for quacking.
Yeah, that's the key.
Wood frogs quack.
So
Oh,
the
how
ducks.
far the wood from?
Yeah,
Ducks.
Where would you choose to go?
I don't know. We'd have to
What
look for
location?
locations.
Yeah.
There's some good spots over off of Sassawana. Hillside would be good. That's a pretty quiet road as is.
Yeah, as much
I
as
pretty much
it's-
closed that road off for myself last year and had a couple families out there with me. And
Yeah, as
You
much
got, like,
as
2
it's
cars,
nice
but-
to get like a high traffic road to like protect whatever. Sometimes, especially for the first year, quiet road would be
Yeah.
nice so that you don't have to worry about flying cars.
Yeah,
What is it, hill what?
Hillside over by Alta Vista Farm. It goes into Holden. Turns into
You know where
Reds
the
over.
brewery was? Didn't go to the
Nope.
brewery that's over
Nope,
there,
nope.
Milkman Brewery? You ever over there?
I didn't serve you over there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Quickly she forgets.
I
Is-
overserved her.
I was
Is
gonna
that,
say, she had too much to drink.
is that Overlook?
No.
Well, it is
No.
now.
What's Overlook?
Overlook is on
Lilac
Wachusett.
Hedge.
Wachusett Street.
Half a project, which is now
Lilac Hedge.
Lilac Hedge.
Oh, Overlook became Lilac Hedge?
Yeah, pretty much. Half a project overlook. Yeah,
Half a project? Okay.
half a project international. You weren't around when we had that up here.
What do you mean, born or in the area?
In the area.
The area. That was a big deal.
It was.
Yep.
And they stuck it to us because the money we made here was all put in a big pot down south, and they said they weren't making money up here, so that's why they closed it. And me, foolish farmer, donated pigs and everything else to the place. Never again will I do that.
Get what you get for being nice, right?
Yeah.
Like Hillside would be good because Holden's right there, and if we work with Holden Concom, do something like right there at the town line.
Yeah, that's where we had all that trouble with, what's the place?
Well, I don't want to talk about them.
Oh,
Ruh-roh.
No,
that was pretty neat.
I forget.
Cities, well,
Pull this up on the GPS.
wasn't it?
Get that screen going, Melissa.
yeah, she lived here, and they had the cows running through the wetlands and everything else, and
They filled
Holden.
it in
Oh.
on Central Tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my neighbor.
Oh my God, no! Is it?
Guess who the chairman of our ag commission is?
Who is it?
None other than Wendy. Forget her last name, Summers.
I thought it was Somerset.
Yeah.
It was Jim Dunn, and then now it's Wendy Summers.
That was a
Somerset.
She was one of the dueling
Yeah,
participants.
you can't,
I think that's when I first.
pretty much.
That's
when
the
you
first time I
started.
talked to Joe Delquilla.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, him and Peter showed up at one of your meetings. They went,
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
sat in the back, and was like, "We're over here."
Yeah, I washed my hands of that whole
As did
situation.
others.
I was like, let Rutland deal with it.
All right, Claire. Glenda, do you think Holden and Concom would be interested in doing a joint? So if we did one along the town boundary?
I think Princeton would too. I don't know much about, I just know a lot of people in town there.
Just no people. Okay, so 'cause
Yeah,
we
our,
could do,
we have our guy that retired from the commission, Skip, you would probably know it. He's like your age.
I'm not even gonna guess, but
What is she implying?
Anthony Costello. He was our vernal pool guru.
okay, that'd be good.
Is
we
he,
could
you said
do-
he's not on the commission?
He's on, he lives down by Maple Spring Pond.
Oh, that's a good spot
21.
too.
Name of the road.
cause you could
Princeton?
do 2 nights.
Princeton Street,
It's off Princeton.
so up past,
You know where the split goes? Like, if you go right, it'll go to Maple Spring.
Yeah.
If you go left,
that's Princeton Street, or a road that goes to the left.
what something? Forget the name of the road.
Yeah, Whitney or
Is it Whitney?
something like that.
Yeah. It might be
We do have these things we can pull
I'm
up
familiar
now.
with all
It's like
these
the
things.
staple. Cause you could do 2 nights, and you know, notice how I say you, cause I will be not there.
Yeah,
Like one near the Holden line, one near the Princeton line.
yeah, that'd be good.
And then, cause you don't necessarily set specific dates, like
Right.
ahead of time.
Yeah. Who's the Princeton Concom agent? They have, is it
Do they
just,
have one?
I don't think they have.
Used to be,
Brianna. No, she wasn't Princeton. She
no,
was
she was
Sterling.
Princeton.
oh, what's his name? Used to be dog officer too over there at the same time.
That's-
Looks like they just have
He
an
lives in East,
admin.
he lived in East Princeton.
Linda had to,
She's just an admin, it looks like.
Holly Palmgren. Oh, Brian Keevan, he could help us. He works for DCR.
Brian Keegan. I know him.
He's a forester.
I know Brian.
Mm.
Yeah, he told me to watch some Mile a Minute Mine.
Yep.
In the
Right.
fields out there.
So maybe for the
And the
next.
commissioner of Mass Fish and Game, or Department of Fish and Game, he lives in Bolton.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Tom, so I'm sure he'd be able to pull some
Big
strings.
Tom O'Shea.
Yep, that'd be big.
So do you 2 want to tag team on finding 2 locations between the Holden line and Princeton line?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Alright, so we'll keep this on the agenda, and then we can see what our partner communities come back with if they're interested, and then go from there. Cause we can. Are you okay if we use your Facebook page for that?
Of course,
the
that's
one
what
you
it's
made
there
last
for.
year.
Yep.
Okay. Cause that already has a pretty good following.
What's the name of the bid again?
Wachusett something.
I don't remember.
I got it.
What is it? Critters?
No,
I
it's,
don't know.
it's like Wachusett area vernal pools and herps or something. Wachusett area herps, big nights, and vernal pools.
Thanks. Who heads that up?
Me.
Yeah, Brian.
I know, but
Because I'm a nerd. Yeah.
who else is on there?
Brian.
Just me. I'm the only admin. I'm gonna add her though, and you.
So I get to be a nerd too?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's why we're all on these committees, right?
Who? Brian. Alright, so we'll see what
Community science.
we'll see what you come up with for February 4th. And we'll go from there. Alright.
I'll try to get Princeton on board.
Okay, cool. Bylaw. Alright, so for Skip and Jared, what we did at the last meeting is we went up to section, I messed up the numbering, 7, permits and conditions. So we stopped after that because it was kind of more, the only real section that we had to think about was definitions, and the rest is really just state language. So what I did for those previous sections was we mostly looked at Holden, Southborough, Gardner, and Spencer bylaws, which we had kind of talked about previously as ones that we liked, and the MACC bylaw, and just kind of compared the different titles and verbiage within them. 90% of what is in each bylaw was pretty much the same as each other. Purpose was the same. Almost every single bylaw has exactly the same language. For jurisdiction, the one thing that we did add in was that 25-foot no disturb zone. And the thoughts behind that was, if we strictly put it in the regulations, it could be changed by just a general meeting of the commission. But if it's in the bylaw, then it takes town meeting to change that. So if we feel strongly that we want to protect that 25 feet, which has been our policy, then it should be in the bylaw.
I had a couple of thoughts on that, just to share with everybody. One is getting the bylaw passed through town meeting. One of my thoughts was, will including that make it easier or harder? I don't know. Probably not much of a difference there. And my only other comment was, this is just one of my quirks, is I try to avoid duplicate information. So when looking at a bylaw and then eventually we'll work on our regs, having the same information in both, it's kind of my own personal rule of thumb. I try to avoid that between two similar documents. That being said, I'm not necessarily opposed to including it, because I think the pro is, we do get this passed, it is a lot harder to change it later, because it would have to go back to a town vote, as opposed to just a regulation update. So that said, I think I'm okay with it being in there.
Yeah, I would leave it in there too. Get it done, get over.
I like it, but could we change it to no disturb zone instead of no build zone?
No,
Because disturb includes removal of future encroachment, removal of vegetation, we don't
That's
want,
what variance is for.
we don't want tree forts in
that
there.
would go on you. No, I don't agree with you. Sorry, I just don't.
So when we call it a no disturb zone, that protects it
So the
in
way
perpetuity.
it's written, it basically is a resource area, having the 25-foot.
Because you can't remove, fill, dredge, etc.,
Yeah.
the resource area, or within 25 feet of their borders.
Okay,
So it essentially,
okay,
But
That's
at our
good.
discretion, we can always issue a variance for things like encroachments or mitigation and things like that.
and we can put that language in the regulation.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
we are planning for that to be, just to clarify what you were saying, Skip, we are intending it to be a no disturb zone, right? Not a no build zone, because those could be construed as being different. I'm in favor of it, just no disturb zone.
No disturbs.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to clarify that.
So I think that means the only thing I will change is in the definition section, I have no build zone. Although, no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later, because the more I think about it, the different things it changes.
We only give waivers for a really good reason.
Yeah.
Like, if it's gonna be beneficial to
Mm-hmm.
the resource area, basically.
Yeah.
Not just for the convenience of the applicant.
Not just because they want to, because then you set a precedent.
Mm-hmm.
We don't wanna do that either.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did watch the meeting from last time, so I am caught up
Okay.
on what you guys talked about last time, and I did have a couple comments on this section 2 jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking we wanna specifically list, cause I think the wording protects it already, we note any freshwater wetland. I was gonna suggest we specifically list isolated vegetated wetland, right after bordering vegetated wetland, just so that it's clear that that is something that we are protecting in our bylaw.
Okay. That's fine.
If you want, Melissa, I made a copy of the Word file and used track
Okay.
changes, so I can just send
Yeah,
you
yeah.
these. The other comment I had in this paragraph was, after any land subject to flooding, I added in parentheses isolated or bordering.
Got it.
Again, just being very specific,
Yeah.
so that it's clear what falls under our jurisdiction.
So ILSF or BLSF.
Yep. And both have it.
Yeah,
covered.
I had the
Right.
same comment as Jared on the isolated vegetated wetland being added.
Okay.
And then would we have a section for buffer zone?
It's under, that's noted in section 2, jurisdiction. Any work that falls within 100 feet, the buffer zone of previously mentioned resource areas must be approved by the Conservation Commission.
So even on BLSF,
Correct.
you place 100?
Yep.
Okay.
And BLSF and ILSF would both have a buffer zone where the state regulations do
They
not.
don't, right,
Yeah.
okay. And then, do you guys know if, is Rutland's also waiting for the FEMA dates for their new floodplain maps, yes?
Yeah, they've
That-
been done since like the 60s.
Yeah, that needs to go to town meeting.
Does that need to go to town meeting? Oh, just to update the.
You have to update your
Bylaw?
existing floodplain bylaw if you
Yeah.
have one, with the new effective date of the
Yeah.
firm maps. And then if you have any LOMARs or whatever they're called,
Yeah, Lomers.
whatever you engineers call those
Yeah.
things, then you have to tell the FEMA people. If it's not included on the list they send you. That was just a side note, sorry, I got distracted.
No, no.
And then, what about the definitions? Can we add, on my edits, I added, surface waters as a definition,
Okay.
and that was taken straight from the state act.
Just from WPA.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have in there at the end that any other definition that's not in here is in the WPA.
Yes, I saw that.
But I spelled definitions wrong.
I was just gonna point that out.
Yep. That's why I tried not to like overdo it, but
Do we use the term surface waters at all in this bylaw?
yes, in the jurisdiction.
Yes,
So I kinda feel like we should define it
So you wanted to just reiterate what it
as
says in
well
the-
as,
same definition from the state regs, yeah.
Okay.
I kinda, on the same note, I mean, one thing I was gonna mention is, I feel like all those, everything in that jurisdiction, like all those terms would be good to have defined, 'cause that's where you're, well, it's not a surface water, it's not this, well, what is that, how do you define it? So to me, that's what I was looking, I ended up on the Tewksbury bylaw, looking at it, and they had, you know, they basically had every word that they had in their jurisdiction, they had defined. So it seemed like a good idea, you know, unless it's covered,
Was that
I
in
don't wanna
their
get too.
bylaw or in their regs? Cause some people add more in their regs. Cause that's
I'm not
always,
sure.
okay, no,
I
that's
wanna
fine,
say
just
it was in
curious.
the bylaw.
Okay. Cause there's always
It was in the bylaw, cause it looked just like this.
this, okay,
It had all the same, you know,
titles,
yeah.
okay.
I just think, you know, technically if I'm looking at it as somebody coming in,
Yep.
you know, I'll say, well, how do you define a bog? I mean, you know, maybe that's a bog to you, but it's not to me. I
Yeah.
don't know,
Same with the vernal pool. I mean,
you know?
Yeah, Tim, you're right, it's in their bylaw.
And
Bo-
gooseberries?
Bogs, bordering land subject to flooding, bordering vegetated wetlands, buffer zone, yeah, they defined everything.
vernal pools, so any vernal pool.
ILSF, they defined.
Alright, so I'll just take those.
Yeah.
Noted.
Why recreate the wheel?
Thank you.
I don't know.
No, no, that's a good point.
So 100 feet.
Plus it helps people if you're looking into doing it, and I know we have most of the same
Yeah.
people building, but, alright, well,
Yep,
there's some people you think are gonna look through it before they're gonna build, and then
yeah.
it gives them everything right there.
And I do, to your point too, also, that if we realize we forget something in the bylaw, we can supplement it in the regs.
Yeah.
So, like, if those kind of things do come up in the future, we're not tied to them all having to be within the bylaw, which is good. But I agree with your having all the resource areas defined, I think that's good. She didn't come over. Alright, so I'll look at Tewksbury's.
You could also look at Newton. I'm just kidding.
Why? Is this good or not good?
I just had to say that.
I was taking you seriously!
Yeah.
My best work comes from plagiarism of bylaws.
Well,
Just
what's
to be
that
clear.
that one thing? Something GPT?
Or
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah, let's have ChatGPT write the
Write
bylaw.
us the bylaw.
Let's do it. Throw in some.
Honestly, you could tell it, review all the other bylaws in Massachusetts and
Create the best one.
Probably take about 10 seconds to do it.
That make me so sad.
I know.
They are all very similar.
They are. It's like it almost makes you go blind because the more you look at it, you're like,
You try to
does that
find
say
what
the
is
same
different,
thing?
and
Yeah.
It's yeah. I had a question on the exemption section.
Yes.
I was just curious, it looks like we've got a few listed, those ones make sense.
Mhm.
And then we're noting that unless it's stated in our bylaw,
Mhm.
it's not exempt.
Mhm.
And I was just curious, the one that came to my mind where I thought, is this something we'd wanna have exempt or not, would be, I'm thinking of like accessory, uses accessory to residential structures, like a deck, a shed, if it's so far away. I think right now it's exempt if it's at least 50 feet away,
Mhm.
but that one occurred to me as, is that something we'd want to include or not? I'm okay not.
I don't think we need it, we'll put it in the other.
What?
I don't think we need to include it in this. Myself, personally, myself. But, that's just me, if I was
That's
gonna
it.
put a shed up
Yeah,
and it was
that's a
too
good
close,
point.
I'd put it
We
up
still
there.
go through the building permit process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a matter of,
I feel like it does.
once it comes to us at that point, then,
Yeah, it's basically asking for, for a deck or for a shed.
Or
If it's
pool.
50 feet
That's another
away
one.
and they install erosion controls, do we wanna see a permit or are we okay with that exemption still remaining?
Yeah, and it has to be on a lot that was created before August 7th, like 96 or something weird like that. So I was looking at the exemption today. Are we supposed to take the, so it says sheds, pools, decks. Are we supposed to use our best judgment if we feel like it's an
So that's
accessory
something,
structure?
if we wanna include as an exemption, we could further clarify in the regs of saying like, obviously an in-ground pool isn't a freaking accessory structure, like when it's 20 by 20.
But what about like a big freestanding garage with a, it's gonna be grading with
So
a
we can
concrete
specify
poured
like
foundation.
a size or,
According to Kim Roth, her answer today, because I called her about the new ADU stuff that's going into effect on February 2nd,
yeah,
and she said, well, I'll bring that up at the next department head meeting with Judy Schmidt. Cause I was like, are people gonna like Is this
say
gonna
it's an
meet
accessory.
is
Yeah,
this
I
gonna
think
be like exempt minor activity? She's like, probably not, cause like it's its own standalone home,
Yeah,
basically,
that's more of an
with,
addition.
with a septic and
Yeah,
an addition. So an addition doesn't qualify as an accessory to a single family home.
from a wetlands perspective, I don't think so.
I don't
You
even,
might call it an accessory from like a zoning perspective,
yeah,
but for wetlands protection, I wouldn't look at it that way.
yeah, me neither at all. Alright, just
Decks,
wondered.
deck sheds, patios, pools, replacement of a basement bulkhead, installation of a ramp for accessibility requirements, like that's what's listed.
So just use whatever is listed in the current regulation is, that's an accessory structure. Like, we can't make stuff up.
We can't make it less strict, yeah.
But the question is, do we even
Do
wanna
we even
include that in
want
our
that?
bylaw, cause we don't now, I just wanted to bring up the question, is that something we would want to be allowed as an exemption? Would be any sort of accessory structures or features? Cause that has come up in the past, we've had a couple sheds is what I'm thinking. Which popped up when they were like, oh, they're 80 feet away, you're exempt, you don't need to file with us. Or.
I know, but then if we tell them they're exempt, then do they know to use BMPs during construction?
Maybe, maybe not, yeah. And that might be a reason to leave it as is,
Yeah, we never know what the topography is gonna be either.
yeah.
Oh, your legs aren't long enough to kick me anyway.
I know, I was really stretching there to try.
I wonder every time we asked, I didn't know.
Skip's playing footies with us.
So sorry. So it sounds like yes, we wanna keep that exemption? Or are we still on the fence?
Well,
I like the exemptions you put in there, kind of. I just had an exempt project in Holden that turned out to be worse than a permitted Winnetoxet transfer pipeline. But it wasn't strictly an in-kind replacement. Like, in-kind means the same location, doesn't it?
yes.
Not on the other side of the road or strictly replace of existing, right?
Mhm.
Is that the only exemption in there?
We have ag, emergency projects, and utilities.
Oh, and the fees. Oh, no, we still have to discuss fees.
Well, how about the what do we wanna do on
So,
this
yeah,
exemption?
you're suggesting adding that into what we have here now,
I'm,
right?
I'm a little on the fence on it myself, but I wanted to bring it up because it has come up before,
Yeah.
specifically in Rutland.
I'll say, I don't think I found a bylaw that allowed the exemption when
Okay.
they created it. There could be one, don't get me wrong, cause
Yeah.
there's so many I didn't look at, cause I
Yeah.
didn't look at
But
any
the ones you've
coastal.
looked at,
The ones I looked at,
that was not in there.
that was not in there.
Yeah, and that's really just in there like it is.
I mean, ultimately, it gives us a little more control.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they can't put in their shed or put in their
Right.
patio.
It's just an RDA.
It just might require an
Yeah.
RDA, yeah. I'm okay with that. Gives us a little more control so that we can say, sure, you can do what you wanna do, just make sure you put in erosion controls, or make sure you do this.
Yeah,
Whatever needs to happen to protect the wetlands, that gives us some control of it.
Right, that's kind of the same thing for the ADUs that's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted
Okay.
a statement from the commission for something they're sending out to the departments. I said, guess what? An RDA or a notice of intent will be required. Shocking, right? If they're in the buffer.
who would have thought?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gave it to Mr. George.
Do we have comments on the applications and fees section? That literally was
The
just
commission,
the same as any other saying that we're gonna implement fees and we're still gonna have peer review fees if needed. And the fees get put in the regs, so we don't even have to decide what the amounts would be right now.
So when do we have to do the regulations? We don't have to do those till after this bylaw passes.
Correct.
That's all.
I mean, it's nice to like at least think about it, because people are gonna ask like, well, what would the regs look like? You know, so it's something that we should be, I think, active in starting as soon as we're done with this, but they don't have to be like ready to go the moment, because the AG still will have to approve the bylaw, so it'll still be like a waiting game.
Yeah, that's takes a while.
The waiving the filing fees, we know it's waived for any application, we can waive it for any application filed by a government agency. That would be local, state, or federal, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Right, how about notice and hearings?
I did have a question on this. I think I understood this correctly when I watched the video from the last meeting. Under notice item 1, this would require a butter notifications for RDAs.
Correct.
Is that pretty typical? Okay. Okay.
And actually, most that I looked at, not only did it include RDAs, but expanded it to 300 feet.
Okay. I have seen that in some towns.
Because I think
yes.
that's more consistent with like zoning regs with
Yes.
the 300.
Yeah, a lot of times, like site plan review
Yeah.
requires 300 foot for butter notifications.
So I still kept it just 100 feet,
Yeah.
but adding in the RDA aspect of it.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great idea, because I've had issues. We don't require that in our bylaw. In Holden.
Do you wish you did?
I thought you did.
No, only thing required is a legal ad,
Really?
unless I just don't know my own bylaw.
That'd be awkward. Because I swear.
I always require
I feel
just
like
a
yours
legal
had
ad.
something weird on that section, maybe.
Ours is 300 for notice of intent.
Or maybe that's what I'm thinking about, yeah. Okay, it says any person filing a permit application.
Well, we think of a permit application as a notice of intent.
Well, that's lame.
We don't
What's the
consider it our,
definition? What's the definition?
Yeah, what's your definition?
but our bylaws, there's so many things.
You don't have one!
So many things that don't make sense. Do you have a reg?
I don't have the regs, no, I just have the bylaw.
Gardener. Ooh. Regulation. What are we supposed to be defining, a permit?
Yeah, application. Or permit application, so both.
Our bylaw, there's so many things in it that don't make sense, that I don't even understand it.
So ours is an application is a request for determination of applicability, notice of intent, or an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation.
Yeah.
Cause when I came in,
So include all three.
yeah, my boss was, the planner was the agent, and she said they don't have to do a butter notifications for RDAs.
I don't know, man. Oh yeah, it says the commission shall conduct a public hearing on any permit application or RDA, so it does sound like.
I'm supposed to be making them do a butter notification.
No, it sounds like an RDA isn't a permit application per your regs. That's weird. It's weird.
Because when you have a public meeting,
it's not a
a
public
notice,
hearing. But
an
this
RDA is not a public hearing.
So you didn't make it a public hearing. We're making it a public hearing.
The section says upon receipt of a permit application or RDA, which
Yeah.
sounds like they
It's-
are not the same.
they're
I
not
should
the
maybe
same.
go take my bylaw to town meeting.
You should.
Yeah.
Feel empowered, Glenda.
Need to do.
Alright. And I also didn't add in here because I feel it gets much better traction in the certificates of mailings. I put that in specifically because it gets sent by regular mail, but the post office still stamps that you've sent it appropriately. So people don't have to sign for it.
And
And
it's
it
less
gets-
expensive.
It's way less
Certificate of
expensive.
mailing.
Yeah.
And you don't have those stupid green cards in the file.
I know.
No.
That you just wanna burn every time you see
I
it.
just want to burn.
So many green cards I have in my desk drawer.
It's crazy.
Like
It's
15 years,
so,
20
I
years.
know,
Oh
it's
my gosh.
stupid.
I finally started to clear some out from
Yeah.
like the 80s.
So many.
Can we shred those?
As long as the COC has been issued and recorded at the registry, all you have to keep is the plans.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So that's notice.
Oh, I did have one other comment about, under notice, item 2. It goes to the third sentence. When a person requesting a determination is other than the owner, the request, the plans, the notice of the hearing, and the determination itself shall be sent by the commission to the owner.
It should be the applicant.
That's what I thought, okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I read that, I said, ooh, I don't think we want to do that.
No, yeah. I think I must have changed it in another spot, cause a lot of them did have like, the commission will do, or like the commission mailed the notice. And I was like, no, we ain't doing that,
No.
like, no.
No.
Now, whoever's applying, it's
So
their
notice,
responsibility to let the owner know.
Commission to applicant, okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's why I see it all blurs together. How about the hearing section? I think this was all very standard. I think this literally every bylaw had. Pretty much just gives us a little bit more oomph to continue when we don't have enough information.
Yeah, I went to that section. Yeah, I didn't have any comments on this one.
How about coordination with other boards? It's basically,
We don't have stormwater bylaw here.
For what?
we have a bylaw, we don't have any regs.
We have a fee.
Yeah.
We have a fee,
Just pay for it.
$100, went up from 40.
How would that, how does that relate to our bylaw?
They might give it to us one day, but that's about it. Cause I had Chris Kowalski write 0 inspections on the MS4 permit, cause I was like, nope. Technically, we've done no as-built reviews or site inspections under our stormwater bylaw because it's not our jurisdiction. He's like, they're not gonna like that, and I was like, well, it's the truth, so. Cause I looked at last year's, or 2 years ago, when Joe Buckley was still here, and it said like we did, I don't know, a whole bunch of them, the commission does them, and I was like, well, that's
You don't
technically a
have-
lie.
So Rutland doesn't have their BMPs on a map? All the BMPs?
I don't know if we have it on a map, I don't know about that, but I know that we have no stormwater permit process in this town. That's what I was talking to Chris about, and he was like,
Wow.
that's interesting. I was like, yes. That's what I've been harping about. Maybe that's why EPA was fined us, but it's fine.
Hey, your fee went up for the stormwater, to $100.
Yeah, they should use the stormwater utility to write a stormwater bylaw. Hire a company to
think
write a
so.
stormwater bylaw.
I think we fixed the bylaw to be compliant, we just don't have regs, but I'll keep my comments to myself about the bylaw.
Alrighty then.
So as of now, it has no bearing on us.
Okay, let's not talk
For better or
about-
worse.
Let's talk, let's do
Okay,
this.
section 7, permits and conditions. I think this is the one that I struggled with the most because each bylaw was a little bit different and it's not necessarily like conditions of approval. It was more just,
Conditions of the filing.
yeah,
The commission shall impose conditions with the commission uses.
and saying that we can approve or deny and impose conditions that are consistent with this bylaw. And that, yeah, if you fail to meet the requirements of the bylaw, we will deny you. Our bylaws expire in 3 years to go along with WPA.
I think you talked about this last time, where it says, any permit may be renewed for additional 1-year periods, et cetera, et cetera. So that would essentially for order of condition extensions, they wouldn't be able to say, hey, we'd like to extend this for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, that is something we could, if we wanna put for up to 3 years to be consistent with WPA, cause we're gonna be issuing one decision. Like when we issue an order of conditions, once we have a bylaw, we're still issuing one permit.
Yeah.
So we just have like an extra set of conditions that are specific to the bylaw. So if we wanna have for that, that's what, letter D, any permit may be renewed, for an additional, up to 3-year period. That might be more consistent, if that
Yeah,
makes
I
more
like
sense,
that.
yeah.
I do like that.
That way we don't put ourselves in a pickle.
May issue a permit expiring 5 years from the date of issuance for recurring or continuous maintenance work. For D, does that include don't we issue 5 years for lake management?
Yeah, so that's what those are in order, like some towns have like DPW management projects, which I think like a levy requirement with,
Yes.
relationship with, but yeah.
Oh, just one other thing I just thought of, that same sentence, so we'll have it say any permit may be renewed for up to 3 years,
Yep,
provided that a request for renewal is received in writing by the commission prior to expiration.
30 days.
I was gonna say, a lot of commissions I've worked with usually require either 30 days prior or even 60 days
60,
prior, I've seen
yeah.
that a few times. I think 30 is reasonable.
Cause that's what it
Yeah.
says in WPA, and it says in the WPA shall be 30 days prior.
Mm.
It's like oddly strict about that. So yeah, that's a good thought,
Yeah.
I like that. I like
that too. I like it. And then because applicants get really mad when their stuff expires and you didn't catch it.
That's their responsibility.
Yeah.
Then,
It is.
I had a guy on Bailey Road that was beside himself, sorry, it expired
That's,
a year ago.
there's nothing we can do about it.
And you haven't built the house yet, so guess what?
Except now that it's like, is it renewed? Has it been renewed with the permit extension? That's my biggest pet
Oh,
peeve, is
yeah.
people who've been so pissed that something expired because they forgot about it. And even if I reminded them, and then now they're like, oh, look what I got. I'm like, that's good for you. It's good for another year and a half. Great.
Yeah, I was trying to check on that today. Can you tell me the dates again?
Did it start in 2023 or 2022?
I think 22.
So January 1st.
23. Was it 1/1/23 to
I'm trying to remember.
1/1/25?
Hold on.
I couldn't even find it today. I was looking for it. and
'Cause
I
it's-
needed it.
Buried in the, what is it, the Leeds Act
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I should have just. It's right on the MassDOT's website, right?
Is it, that's cute, January 1st, 2023 to January 1st, 2025. Are automatically, anything valid within that date,
So valid meaning
Any-
it could have been issued a
whenever.
year before that
Yeah.
time period. But if it's valid,
So if it
not
was,
necessarily issued
yeah,
within those
if
dates,
it was
yeah.
valid, yeah, it doesn't have to be issued, it just
Right.
had to been open. Then it's good for another 2 years.
So it makes anything issued within those dates or valid within those dates good until January 1st, 2027? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Well,
You know what? That's
No.
crazy.
Yeah. No.
from the date of expiration, 2 years. So
Okay.
not from January 1st, but from the date of expiration, another 2 years.
Okay.
From the date of expiration, they get add on 2 years.
Yes.
Okay. Does that include the wetland delineation that goes along with NOIs?
Yeah. Because that's part of the order of conditions approval. Yeah.
The only thing it doesn't do is enforcement orders. Okay. Anything else in permits and conditions? Oh. Okay, so what should be section 8, but I labeled section 7 as definitions. I think I put alter or alteration. So this, literally every bylaw I looked at had the same definition, including the model. And Skip, what you were talking about in terms of the destruction of plant life. So this is the definition of alteration, but our jurisdiction requires that a person has to do the alteration for it to be applicable. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yes,
Okay.
because if you had 10 acres of land
Yeah.
and you got the winds blowing over
Yeah,
a
we're not
dozen
gonna
trees,
see
you
like,
can't even walk
yeah,
through
tree
it.
fell. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Or
that's,
yeah, somebody's cows eating all the vegetation in the wetland.
Yeah.
Something like that.
huh?
Keep your cattle out of these.
So we have that definition, buffer zone. So I think this is one that we should talk about, is I kept going back between no disturb from no build zone. So lands within 25 feet of any protected resource area, beginning at the upland edge of the protected resource area and extending 25 feet into the upland. So we want that to be no disturb zone, right?
I think so,
I think that makes better sense.
yeah.
I think because I was looking at a bylaw that had both, and it was like they built upon each other. Like they had the no disturb
Yeah.
and then the no build.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
And I think I just picked like the first one.
Because some have a 50-foot no build zone, I think.
Well,
Are you
that's
telling me
This
that,
one-
basically-
Gary?
This one here,
No, they call it a no
What?
structure
Structure
There's a
zone.
Tewksbury one, and it's the same, like you just
Yeah.
said, the no build is 50, and no disturb is 25.
Yeah, because I think that's what I was like. It had the no build is 25, and then from the no build from the no disturb there's a no build on top of that. So it was 25 and 25.
One of these.
So it built on top of each other,
Oh,
and I
I
was
see what
like,
you're
I'm
saying.
so confused.
Right.
Okay, so no build to no disturb.
Yeah, because I think no build zone, I'm looking at Tewksbury's, I'd have to read it closer, but I bet you it probably means, when they say no build, they might mean literally no building.
Yeah, no structure.
It doesn't mean,
You can't alter.
yeah.
Protected resource area, those listed in our jurisdiction. That seemed to be ironically what people put for that, which was interesting to just kind of reference back to yourself, but I was cool with it. They all had the same definition for rare species and vernal pool. The only difference for vernal pool is some kept the 200 cubic feet of water, while I saw some also had the 100, so I kind of just went for the lower amount. I did have pond in here only because in one of them I found that they kind of deleted the size threshold of 10,000 square feet, and I kind of liked that.
Is that how it's defined in the
I
regs?
guess so.
That it can only be considered a pond if it's larger than 10,000 square feet?
I truthfully didn't.
Why does it,
I didn't realize that.
do we have to have a volume requirement at all? Can we just take that out? If there's like a puddle like the size of this table, but there's breeding obligate vernal pool
Get a load of
species in it,
gravel, don't
why
you?
do we care what the volume is?
Well, I think because
Do they need a certain volume?
so I think from what I was understanding is that my sweet Lord, hold on.
Poor Melissa.
No, it's all gravy. It's all gravy. Is that oh my god!
What?
It's like it's fine. We're just doing weird things.
Everything's fine.
I just want to open the
Nothing to
Wetlands
see here.
Protection Act regulations.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see. I am A-okay.
It's not smoke coming out of your ears.
I wish. No, I don't wish. I don't want to be on fire. Okay. me to like log into Adobe, but like that's not necessary. I just want to open the PDF.
Inland ponds are defined as at least 10,000 square feet.
Okay, so that's why,
Oh, so that's the.
that's
wetland.
why it says,
Okay.
yeah, exclusive of,
Okay.
or, except, yeah, that one, that word.
That size threshold does not apply.
Yeah.
I do like that too.
Okay. So I'll add in the other resource areas and model it after Tewksbury seemed to be one that had them.
Just a general question about this whole section definitions.
Yeah,
Would it make more sense to put it at the front?
section 2, yeah.
Okay.
It's only this late because I didn't do it.
That's all right. No, I figured.
Yeah.
Last time when you guys went over everything, I know you mentioned, we'll talk definitions later. I figured it was just added here just for convenience.
Do you want them in alphabetical order too?
Yeah, I'm gonna reformat once we've gotten to a better place with it.
This is good though.
Yeah, I was gonna move the because either definitions were this section, like literally right where they are, or in the beginning. But I think it makes better sense for them to be in the beginning. You know, permit, person, application, applicant, all pretty standard. And then just kind of the general that anything else is just following the definitions spelled correctly in the WPA.
Okay, because I found surface waters.
You found surface water in what?
In the wetland protection.
Oh,
It says including without, means all waters other than groundwater within the jurisdiction of the Commonwealth,
that's a lot.
including without limitation, rivers, streams, lakes, ponds, springs, impoundments,
Estuaries,
estuaries,
wetlands,
wetlands,
and
and
coastal
coastal
waters.
waters.
That's pretty inclusive there.
Impoundments.
Dams.
We don't regulate, like stormwater impoundments.
No, but dams can sometimes have a river flowing up to the dam,
Yeah,
and then it stops in like a 180 degree, whatever it's called, semicircle. So we would have jurisdiction over the water behind the impoundment. You
and
feel
land
me?
under the water.
Yeah, when I still don't understand what that is. It's fine. That's like a phantom area.
So we don't need to put surface waters in our definition.
Well, if we're doing all of them,
We'll just say it's,
we'll just skip over that one. Is what you're saying?
we don't need to put surface waters in.
Or at least I can just reference that.
We have service waters in the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We do.
Or we can just put as the definition states. In the
It's in the wetland
Yeah.
protection, yeah. The
Instead
first.
of we dropped off our buddy who joined. He was down listening to us.
Do you know who it was?
It said Scott. So I don't know if it was that Scott.
That name came up just
Yeah.
a couple meetings ago too.
I
Or
don't
it's Scott
get it.
Langren or another Scott. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. It's boring. Just kidding. This is wonderful.
This is riveting. What are you
It's
talking about?
riveting. All right. Any other thoughts on definitions? Besides adding what's in the jurisdiction. Okay. Obviously, this is not set in stone yet, so if you think of things, even as soon as you get in the car, send me a message and be like, yo, I forgot.
Is an emergency certification an application?
No, because it's exempt. Right? Because they don't apply.
Yeah, we issue an emergency cert.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's more of a
So
decision.
no, it wouldn't be considered an application.
so only whatever the applicant sends to us is an application.
Yeah, because when
Makes
we
sense.
used, where we used application was like in the public hearing section and the permits and conditions.
So an RDA is an application,
Yes. Unlike your weird.
but we call it, what do we call it, a permit?
No, you don't call it a permit.
Yeah, you don't. Not
You
a
call it an
permit.
RDA. A
It's
permit
on-
application or
it's its
RDA.
own thing.
You got a crap
That's so
bylaw.
stupid.
You got a crap bylaw.
This is gonna be so much better.
Yeah, F Holden.
I totally agree with
We don't wanna work with you. I'm gonna call Paxton. So.
Yeah,
I think, was it,
Holden sucks. Hey, there, I said it.
left Holden
Just get it out,
7 years
out there. Just get it out there. Everybody knows.
Rutland really doesn't wanna be Holden. We really don't.
We're heading there.
Who
We're headed
would?
that way, but we don't.
Who would? No one.
okay. Regulations, every section had this, every bylaw, AKA we're gonna have regulations, and they'll be filed with the town clerk, and they'll be there.
Yeah, Anna Carl Clarkson, what's her name?
Anita Carlson.
Anita.
I need a clerk.
Anita Carlson.
And that we will have it as a public hearing, and the majority of the commission will vote, and yada, yada, yada. And failure to make such regulations will not invalidate this bylaw, but we are making regulations. Enforcement. Pretty much, it's a lot of words, but, pretty much the same in any bylaw. And followed the MACC one, that basically anyone who does things that we told them not to, or that didn't get permission to, shall be in violation. And we have the authority to enforce this bylaw and its regulations, or non-criminal disposition per MGL blah blah blah, which states that we can't do a fine of more than $300, but a new fine happens every day that it exists, or you know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, how much?
300.
$300. Ooh, like
Per violation per day.
per, yes.
So if we have multiple violations, then it's multiple 300s
Yeah,
for multiple days.
then don't we have to get like,
Town council involved,
we
it's
have
all
to get town
fun
council
stuff.
and
Yeah.
ticketing and all that?
We don't necessarily have to do ticketing if we use town council to take it to court and do it that way. It's only when we do non-criminal disposition is it the ticketing, which can be separate than what we take them to court for.
Okay.
I learned this recently as I'm taking something to court at work, even though I'm not really doing it. Town council is.
Lovely.
Yep,
Sounds like a riot.
it's fun. Any thoughts, comments on that?
I have one spelling correction.
Oh, yes, please.
Second to last paragraph, end of the first sentence, under civil law. I'll put it in my markups there.
Under criminal
yeah.
law.
Civil lawn.
Ooh,
Second to last paragraph.
second, yeah. Oh, civil lawn. Okay, thanks, appreciate you.
Extra N.
I was looking at the last sentence, I was like, no, it's
Oh,
criminal,
under
it's chief of
criminal.
police, they're criminal.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Do we have to say or claim, where does the money go? Fines, now that there's gonna be the permit, fees and stuff like that. Does that have to come up in this or no?
So that,
Let me guess, it goes to the general fund.
it does not,
No.
it does not,
Name
it goes
tags.
into a revolving account,
Name
so,
tags. Better name tags.
Yeah.
the only thing that we have in here specifically is about the peer review fees. In terms of, which go into a separate account, cause that's MGL. In terms of our like filing fees and violations, etc., what needs to be done, be at a town meeting, we create a revolving account that all of our fees get put into that we can use for conservation commission related items. And every year town meeting will have to authorize an amount up to that we can expend just per the state laws, but we keep that money.
Is
So-
that a 53 E and a half? Or what's
Yes.
that E and a half?
Yeah,
Were you saying that last time?
yeah.
I need to know this because I have to do this, like,
Proud of you.
tomorrow. I have to do it tomorrow.
So it's a revolving, so we will never lose the money, it just carries over every year.
That wouldn't have to be
It
talked
doesn't
about
have to
in
be
this.
in
So we have
here,
to-
it'll be in the regs.
We have to
Yeah.
establish on 53E at town meeting.
And half,
Don't forget the half.
So I gotta go with my town council. How do I do that?
talk to your town accountant too, probably.
Establish a 53E and a half for local fees. And then I have to get that approved at town meeting and
The select board.
the
gotta approve it
bylaw
first.
saying that we're, if it doesn't already have local bylaw fees in my bylaw,
In the regs,
in the regs.
in the regs.
Let me see.
You don't
Or
care
do
if
you
they're
not
in
have
there
a
or
section
not.
about fees at all?
I don't know.
See, crappy bylaw.
Huh?
You don't have any, yeah,
Oh,
you don't
come
have
on,
any
Tom.
fees in your bylaw.
No, I have
Not
nothing.
me.
That's what I
Well,
need.
you got a lot of
Oh,
work
no.
to do. Okay,
Thanks for that information.
You're welcome.
25
Consulting, what'd you put?
53E and a half,
Alright, where'd you put consulting fee?
under fees. Applications and fees, section 4.
We're way past that point.
Yeah, come on now.
I'm tired.
Yeah, well, we're not trying to do Holden bylaws and ours too.
Good point.
Let's be
Okay.
real.
Well,
got
I'll
enough work
say
to do.
the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections of this, the like half a page that's left, is exactly the same on every bylaw.
Burden of proof.
Yep.
Awesome.
Basically, the applicant has to prove that they're meeting the bylaw. Appeals go to Superior Court, and this is adopted under home rule, independent of the WPA, and it's not gonna invalidate itself somehow.
That's good to have.
Yeah,
I think it's good to go.
so, I
Have
think
you ever
there's,
acquired a bond? Has that ever come up?
no,
Yeah.
but we could.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Honest, every single bylaw, I was like, I don't know a single commission that's
know.
ever requested a surety bond.
That's a planning board.
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Yeah, planning boards do that a lot.
I mean, I think there have been more in like coastal communities than inland. Maybe if there's like a high replication area, maybe some are a little bit more wishy-washy, but
Protect themselves.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to have it in there regardless.
Alright, so you have a couple edits.
I do. I will email those to you.
Perfect.
I can do it right now, actually.
That would be amazing. I think bylaw committee was gonna come to our next meeting on the 4th, as long as we're okay with that. So what I will do is I will take what we've discussed tonight, update this lovely bylaw, do some final formatting so that they wanted the draft beforehand, so we can get that to them, and we will go from there.
So we're final draft of bylaw by, what's the deadline?
I forget what the final deadline is.
She was talking about having a draft bylaw for February, our next, first meeting in February.
Yeah,
And that we might do a joint meeting with the bylaw
it's literally what I just said.
committee.
Yeah,
She's tired.
yeah.
She's so old and stuff.
So we're not changing anything in the no building zone, right? We're leaving it at 25-25.
Correct.
Okay,
We're just changing it to a no disturb.
yeah, okay. Just
Although with the regs, we could still add a no structure zone if we wanted to.
We
right?
could.
with the regs, but
With the
that's the
regs, yeah,
regs
let's-
that's on the
Something for
road.
later.
Let's get this done and
Yeah.
My
yeah.
brain don't have
get it
that
in-
anymore.
Get it in progress.
This is awesome.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Jared. Questions, comments about
Yep,
this?
we're good.
Okay.
Oh, God, this coffee's not doing
Is
anything.
there a motion to adjourn?
So we'll
Second.
All those in favor by roll call.
Keep an eye.
clock eye.
Jensen Lucia.
York and I.
Williams and I.
Dan to I, we are adjourned 7:39.